Hello and welcome, and thank you for clicking on my video, giving me the opportunity to tell you about Medicare Supplement Plans for 2020. My name is Russell Noga. I'm the founder of Medisupps.com. We're an online insurance agency helping seniors across the country find the best Medicare supplement insurance every year. Today I'm going to be talking about Medicare Supplement Plans for 2020. What are the most popular plans? What you need to know about choosing the right company as well as the right plan, and how to stay away from those pesky rate increases. Well, after helping seniors for over a decade now with their Medicare insurance, I have to say, not a day goes by where somebody doesn't ask me, Russell, what are the best Medicare supplement plans for 2020? Now, the best plans, well, I usually turn it around and say, I'm more concerned with what the best plans are for you. It doesn't matter what your neighbor has or your friends have. They could have something that fits their needs great, but it might not work that well for you. But I will tell you, the most popular Medicare supplement plans are probably going to fit your needs the best, and we still have to narrow it down a little bit. But those plans for 2020 are Medicare Supplement Plan G, Medicare Plan N, and Medicare Plan F. You could be saying at this point, well, Russell, I thought Plan F was going away. Well, it actually did. If you were eligible for Medicare on January 1st of 2020 or later, you cannot enroll in a Medicare Plan F. It's not a bad thing. Trust me. Stay with me here. I'll tell you why. However, anybody who had Plan F could remain on the plan, and I know there's some of you out there watching right now who still have Plan F. You were able to keep the plan if you wanted. You were able to change to a different Plan F, or anybody enrolled in Medicare prior to January 1st of 2020 can get a Plan F. Don't go that direction, though. You don't want to. Plan F is too expensive for too little of a benefit. I'll cover the details of each plan, though, and we'll start with Plan F. Before I get into those details on Plan F, though, I do want to talk about the core of Medicare and basically what it is we're supplementing. You are enrolled in Part A and Part B Medicare. If you're just turning 65, you'll be enrolled in it very soon. Part A and B Medicare are your core benefits. They call that Original Medicare. Part A covers hospitalization and Part B covers doctor's services. There are gaps or expenses in those which you're required to pay. That's where the term Medigap comes in, because one of these plans can help pay some or all of those. In the case of Plan F, it pays all of those expenses. But what are the expenses? Well, we've got deductibles, we've got coinsurance, and there are copays in both Part A and Part B that you're required to pay. Medicare Supplement Plan F, for you folks who have it, you know it's 100% coverage. Go to the doctor, show your cards, and go home and never get a bill. You just get an explanation saying, here's what was paid, you owe nothing. Sounds great, and it was great for years and years, the most popular plan. However, now it's just simply priced itself out of the market. One of the reasons they got rid of it, it was too expensive. There's a better alternative than Plan F, even for you folks on Plan F, where you can save a tremendous amount of money, and that is Medicare Supplement Plan G. Now let's look at Medicare Supplement Plan G for 2020 and why it's such a great option. Well, remember, on Plan F is 100% coverage. Plan G is 100% coverage after you just pay the annual Medicare Part B deductible yourself each year. So you simply write that check, send it in, and then for the rest of the year, you get 100% coverage of the gaps in Medicare. Medicare will come in, pay its portion. Plan G will pay the rest. You go home and you get no medical bills for the rest of the year. So what is the Medicare Part B deductible? Well, that is a portion that you must pay prior to Medicare Part B coming in. Remember, it's doctor services. Prior to them coming in and paying 80% of your medical bills, you need to pay the deductible. For 2020, this deductible amount is $198. So, simply put, if you go on a Plan G and your first $198 of your medical bills come in, you pay for those. You pay for those out of pocket. You have a monthly premium that you pay every month to have the plan. That's with any Medicare supplement plan. After that, you get the first $198 of your medical bills, write the check, send it in, and you know for the rest of the year, you go to the doctor and up to no limits, you'll never see another medical bill for any Medicare approved expense. Why is it that I say Plan G is better than Plan F? Well, you see that's just one small difference. $198 deductible, and on Plan G, you pay that yourself. You folks on Plan F are probably paying $300, $400, $500 extra a year to get a $198 benefit. In other words, you're giving them $400 extra dollars. They'll write the check, they'll take 198 out of it and say, we'll take care of that deductible for you. And then they keep $200. So you're paying a $200 service fee for them to write a check with your money. Now, there is one good reason to have Plan F, and I understand this, and this is the only reason I would keep Plan F. That is, some people will pay extra just to have the luxury of never seeing a medical bill. I get people, Russell, I don't care. My neighbor, I try and switch him twice a week. Listen, you can save money on Plan G, so much money. He says, I don't care, I just never want to see a medical bill. I respect that, and I get that. If you don't mind paying extra, and you're going to with these future rate increases coming up on F, and I'll tell you why in a moment, if you don't mind paying extra, to go for it. I do understand that. But most people I talk with, every dollar counts. And in that case, Plan G is the place to be. Aside from the higher premiums you're paying on Plan F just to get the deductible paid for you, keep this in mind. Plan F is now what's called a closed risk pool. Remember, Medicare took it away. No new premiums coming into the group you're in, only claims being paid out. So everybody who's still got a Plan F, the actuaries of the insurance companies are going to come in, they're going to analyze the group, and they're going to look at the amount of claims being paid out. Normally, they would match that up against the premiums coming in. However, that part's cut out of there. So by law, insurance carriers charge premiums based on the claims versus premiums coming in, and a certain percentage of every dollar has to go to health claims. Well, if there's nothing but health claims being paid out of a group, statistically speaking, these rates are going to skyrocket. And we've already seen higher rate increases from this. You're in what's called a closed risk pool. That is why I highly recommend, yes, you're getting 100% coverage now, but at what cost? It will take me 5 minutes to run the rates for you if you just want to call me. You don't have to sign up, but I'll do my best to at least show you the math and try and encourage you to take a serious look at Plan G. But now let's go ahead and discuss the benefits of Plan G a little more and what you get with that. But that's pretty easy to do. You get 100% coverage after the small deductible. So you might be asking, great, how much does this cost? Well, when it comes to Medicare supplement rates, there are a number of different factors that are involved. These include things like your zip code, your age, your gender, tobacco use, and maybe a company offers a household discount or not. So it's not even worth giving a ballpark because the companies that offer these all offer the exact same benefits within each plan letter. That's what's called standardized. These plans are standardized by the government. Government says, if you're going to offer a Plan G, it's got to have these particular benefits. You cannot change at all. It's not like an HMO or a PPO or Medicare Advantage plans. They only have to offer a certain base amount of coverage, what's equal to Part A and B Medicare, and then they can pick and choose after that. Medigap plans aren't like that. If it's a Plan G, it's got to have the same benefits. However, these companies all charge different rates for it. So I had a woman I spoke to earlier today, she had called the company direct and wanted to sign up with Plan G. They gave her the premium and she was ready to sign up. She had seen my videos and gave me a call and she said, well, they said it was $152. I looked it up, it was about $109 for her, the company I found. She was ready to sign. That's about a $500 and change a year savings just by letting her know there's another option available. So while they all have the same coverage, they all charge different premiums, we're an independent agency, so we shop all the top companies. You never pay us a dime for our services. It's all free. But why wouldn't you use us? Because we're going to do that every year for you because of the next topic I'm going to, which is rate increases. Most insurance carriers have a 1-year lock-in on your rate. So if we signed you up with a particular company today, you would probably maintain that rate for at least a year. Maybe a couple months after, but usually on your anniversary, you're going to open up the mailbox and there's going to be a letter in there stating, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you are getting a rate increase and your premium will go up a certain percentage now for the next year. Every company does this. Rarely do they go down. In fact, I'll just say they're not going down. Let's just assume that you're going to get that rate increase and it's going to be upwards. Now, at that point, the insurance carrier with is just going to tell you you're getting a rate increase. They're not going to say, by the way, there's a better rate with another company. We hope you don't leave, but go ahead with them. They're never going to tell you that. Why would they? But we do. We're already shopping the rates when you get that rate increase for you to make sure you're always in the best spot. That's what an independent agency like us can do for you rather than going direct to those big call centers where they have 300 agents and you probably never even know the person's name. So even with a Medicare Plan G, yes, you will get a rate increase. This is just how you have to handle this. Having somebody on your side to watch them, doing it responsibly and every year, so you don't end up like some of those people who call us and say, "Hi Russell, I saw your videos and I haven't heard from my agent in like 4 years." That's good news right there, right on up at that point as far as I'm concerned, because I know I'm going to be able to save them a ton of money. But let's talk about one question that comes up quite a bit. Can I change my Medicare supplement plans anytime? Well, if you have a Medicare supplement plan and you want to switch to a different one, yes, you absolutely can apply for a new one regardless of the time of year. Most people think they need to wait until the Medicare open enrollment period from October 15th through December 7th every year. It's actually called the Medicare Annual Election Period, or AEP. Medicare and CMS often call it open enrollment period. And if that's what you're talking about, most people know it's just that time of year. However, with a Medicare supplement, if you want to switch to a different supplement, you don't have to wait until that time of year. We can do that anytime during the year. Now, you might be saying, well, sure, but don't I have to qualify? And that is true, unless you are within 6 months of taking Part B Medicare, which is for you new people turning 65, this applies. But if you have a supplement and it's been beyond the 6 months, you have to go through what's called medical underwriting. That's answering questions on the new application. If for you folks on turning 65, that initial open enrollment period is 6 months from the time you take Part B Medicare, we can put you with any supplement plan in any company with no medical questions asked whatsoever. So let's talk about the underwriting questions. Well, they're not as stringent as most people think. However, each company has different underwriting guidelines. They look for the big items: heart attack, stroke, cancer, within the last couple years. 2 years, I'd say, is a minimum. These are ballpark because every company has different guidelines. And we have a lot of options for different people. You have nothing to lose by calling us, letting us know your current situation, and we can match it up against the companies we have to see if we can switch you. We surprise people every week. They think they don't have a chance, and we're able to get them qualified with the company because we have so many different options. Like I mentioned, it's always worth trying because it puts you in a great situation where we can possibly save you quite a bit of money. While we are on the topic, though, of the Medicare open enrollment period, let's talk about that a moment because we're going to come right up on that for 2021 now. October 15th through December 7th is a time period where you can change various plans and the coverage will go into effect January 1. Remember, if you want to change your Medicare supplement plan, we can do that anytime during the year. But in October, coming right up, what are the changes that can take place? Well, you can switch. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan, you can change to a different Medicare Advantage plan if you want to. You can also go from a Medicare Advantage plan back to original Medicare and a Medigap plan. And believe me, we do that nonstop during that enrollment period for people to get me off this Advantage plan. They're not paying anything. I'm getting copays like crazy. No problem. Let's look at your options. So you can do that as well. You can also change from a Medicare supplement plan to a Medicare Advantage plan or off original Medicare because you opt out of that to enroll in an Advantage plan during that period. And you can change your Part D drug plan. In fact, that's the only time during the year you can change your Part D drug plan. Any of those changes will go into effect on January 1 of the following year. Now, I got a little sidetracked over there. I was talking about the most popular Medicare supplement plans, but I'll come right back to it because we talked already about Medicare Plan F and how limiting that is and how expensive that is. We talked about Medicare Plan G and how great that is with lower premiums than Plan F, lower rate increases with just one small difference of that deductible. There's one other plan you should know about, and it's a great plan called Medicare Supplement Plan N for 2020. Now, what's the difference between N and G? Because we're working our way down the amount of coverage and lower premiums. Well, to start with, Plan N does have lower premiums than Plan G, sometimes by quite a bit. There are a few catches, though. For lower premiums, you don't get the same coverage, but it's not too far off. With Plan N, you still pay the Part B deductible like you do on Plan G. However, with Plan N, after you meet that deductible, you might have a small copay per doctor's visit. The copay will never be more than $20, and it could be less. It could be $6 or $9, or it could be $0. It just depends on what you go for and how they code the visits. One other thing on Plan N that could come up is if you visit the emergency room and you're not admitted, it'll be a $50 copay. Plan N also does not cover what are called Part B excess charges. These are pretty rare. If your doctor doesn't take the assigned rates for Medicare for the entire practice, they could charge up to 15% extra, and you would be required to pay a percentage of that. Most doctors take the assigned rates from Medicare. You can call your doctor to find out. They're probably going to say, sure, we take assignment, and you'll never see a Part B excess charge. In 11 years, I've never had a client tell me they ever got a Part B excess charge. So Plan N is absolutely worth looking at. We'll shop the rates for Plan N and Plan G and compare the two against your own current situation. That will help determine what is the best Medicare supplement plan in 2020 for yourself. It all depends on your own personal situation, and we're experts at determining that. We've been doing it 11 years, and our clients love it. We've helped over 10,000 people with their Medicare insurance. Now it's time that we help you. So just give us a call now at 1-888-891-0229. In a quick phone call, we can find out your own current situation, and like I mentioned, match it up to what we think is best, show you the premiums from all of the companies, not just one, and get you in the best spot for your Medicare supplement insurance for 2020. Again, I'm Russell Noga, and we can't wait to talk to you soon. Give us a call now.